Hi, Kim.
Hello, hello. Terrible. Hi, sorry. I've got a lot of light coming in, so I'm in the dark.
Oh, no, that's okay. And are you on Melbourne time or where are you in the world?
I'm in Sydney, which is same as Melbourne time.
Oh, perfect. Yep. So for us it's morning, and for Kristina it's very late at night.
It's very little morning. Good morning. Here is midnight and half past midnight.
Oh, wow. Incredible. All
Here
righty.
we now we are 9 hours because our time goes forward last night 1 hour ahead.
Oh,
So we are.
yep. No, sounds good. What I was thinking, ladies, should we have a live stream going through the Facebook group as well? Like, I could have us connected on there if you wanted to. Would you want me to do that on the Facebook group? Do a live as well, or?
Look, if you can. The funny thing is, I cannot get into my group. Like if I'm on my business page and I want to share something into the group, I can't do it. So I haven't worked out why. But if you can do that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. Yeah, because my phone's connected to the group, so I was just thinking of live streaming, and then I could invite you all in there. But that's only if your phones are near you, because you'll need your phone. But if not, let's not complicate it. All good. Now that's it. All right, let's get started. And then obviously I'll post the recording of this in the group for everyone to have a listen to our conversation from today. So yeah, thank you so much, Kristina, for suggesting this, call idea. I think it's a great idea for us to connect with one another, but also share our story. And Kim for joining in, which is awesome. It's so good to meet you online.
Thank you, Samantha. Well, I'm a bit starstruck. I wasn't quite sure that I was going to be in on this, but here I am.
You are here, and it's awesome. And actually, I'll be in Sydney next month, so we'll have to catch up when I'm in Sydney in person. Now
Please
that we're
do.
online.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Now, well, the purpose of today's call was I just thought, given you've got an amazing community that is growing on Facebook through the Facebook group, there'll be a good opportunity for us to talk about, doing business globally with the power of obviously having these online relationships. And that kind of ties in really well with Kristina recently co-authored a book called Global Women in Business, which is very, very cool. In that book, Kristina really talks about her journey around how she got started, what's really special to her, and why she does what she does. And I guess in my chapter, I talked about commitment, and I kind of I tell a little bit of a story around, how you should show up, or what I think is a great way to show up in terms of commitment in a business relationship. That persistency to kind of be there, like not just go, I'm here because I want to do this, but it's like, are you in it for the long haul? How committed are you? So I just thought a conversation around that might be awesome to share. So yeah, here I am.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And I guess, Kristina, for you and I met online, which is really, really cool. I think we've known each other for about 2 years, I think, about that.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and it's been an incredible journey, because for those of you that are listening in, Kristina and I met through a connection on Facebook, and then we got chatting. And over the years, Kristina has really been a big part of, I guess, supporting not just my business in terms of doing some back-end management in terms of managing websites and updates and all of that, and some design work, but also for quite a few of my clients over the last few years, which has been incredible, from our engineering clients to our coaches and consultants. Kristina's team has done a lot of support work. Things that I often say as a business owner, and maybe Kim, you might be able to relate to this very much, around saying it takes a lot of courage to admit that sometimes you're not skilled in all areas of your business, and then having people in your inner circle that you can say, hey, I can't do this, but I know you and your team can. Would you be open to collaborating and doing that for me? And essentially, Christina's been that. We are not very techie at all, even though we do a lot of consulting work and we offer a lot of support. We're not technical. And that's where I guess the relationship with Kristina has been awesome, because I can go to Kristina, here's the login, here's the password, we want this done, this done, this done in bullet points. And then Kristina's team, with the time difference, it's all done. And a few days later, I'm like, oh yeah, it's all done. It's awesome. So I guess that's the power of having global connections, but also I think really being vulnerable to share that, yeah, we're good at this, but we need help with this, and building those relationships. So yeah. But I'm curious, Kim, tell me a little bit about you and what your thoughts are on, doing business globally and that sort of thing.
Oh gosh, isn't it funny? We're very women. We're very good about talking about other people, but when it comes to ourselves, we tend to think, oh, do I really have to do this? And one of the things that I actually do say to people, particularly last week, I did a series of live videos on connecting and collaborating and building business relationships, is that, if you cannot talk about yourself and you cannot talk about your business, then who's going to do that for you? So we have to get out of that comfort zone and start talking about ourselves and what it is we do, and talking ourselves up. And I find that still personally challenging.
Yep.
And I think a lot of women find that very a challenge as well. So
absolutely, yeah.
So just a little bit about me is I run two businesses. Office Society, where I work with small to medium-sized business owners who are in the growth phase of their business. And like most business owners, they're still doing everything themselves.
Okay.
And they may or may not have a team member, but they've realised now that unless I bring in a team, or unless I start getting rid of some of this back office, I cannot grow and take my business in the direction it wants to go.
Yeah.
And my other business is Business in Hills, North Shore, Sydney, which is a franchise, and I'm the branch director for North Sydney.
Oh, amazing!
And we promote, educate, and connect women to help them to be successful in business.
Amazing. It's interesting you mentioned Business in Heels, because I've been a part of the Business in Heels community here in Melbourne for a little while, and worked alongside Lisa. I was one of the presenters at one of their events last year, and that's amazing. Well, here we are connected, the power of the internet, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And Kristina, tell us what you get up to. I know you're a very busy lady with many talents. What is it that you and your team do? I mean, I've spoken briefly about the amazing work you have done for our community, but I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. Yeah, we are still doing our job, like web graphic design, and tomorrow I have one client to start doing web internet e-shop, I can say, and website, landing page. Yeah, I'm still working on it. For example, web graphic and so, and that's pretty good. And as you know, that I work in two schools. That is my daily job, and in the evening, this is web graphic, and also I'm thinking about to start working as a business coach and internet marketing coach. That should be my new business, which I plan to launch this year, maybe of the summer. It should be the name KSM Consulting and Coaching, and that is what we were talking about, if you remember. So that's my business is, my only job is to get clients, to work with them, to find new clients, to just do networking, promote myself and my business. That's pretty good. As you know, I don't know how we met, but I think that you were doing one workshop. It was about marketing on LinkedIn or something like that, and I was applied sign up for this workshop on Facebook page, and then it was the way how we get connected.
That's
Me
right.
and you.
Yeah. It's coming back to me now that you mentioned that. I'm going, yeah, that's right. Because I have run quite a few workshops online through Zoom like this and through other, channels. I think that's how we met. And then here we are chatting about lots of amazing things that, we could be doing to support more business owners. So that's amazing. And as you said, you're very passionate about educating people because obviously, you're educating the next generation. And then you're also juggling the business hat of, providing graphic design and, website support and all that for your team. So that's amazing. Thank you. So I actually thought on this call, I guess my purpose and I guess what I was kind of seeing on this call was very much around, talking about one thing that you have seen show up, particularly around dealing with women in business, but on a global scale. In terms of my background, I have been a business owner for almost about 7 years now. I've got a consulting business that talks very much to startup to small businesses. So businesses generally turning over less than 10 million Australian dollars. And I work with them around where are they at in terms of their marketing, particularly on Facebook, LinkedIn. And then obviously I've got my book publishing business and hence where this book was born, and Kristina wrote a chapter, and we've got another lady called Biba, which is globally, and we've got Jane, which is in New Zealand. So for those of you that are probably going to listen, you can see all the faces of these incredible women. They shared some really interesting elements around what they have seen in their business life, the challenges, the wins, and the lessons learned. And I think, Kim, you probably would agree, given you're juggling two businesses, at different stages, there are different needs and wants. And then there are challenges that you have to overcome. Sometimes it can take a very emotional toll on you. Sometimes it could be a financial, sometimes it could really challenge you on so many aspects that you kind of have to go, where is this going? Do I need to tweak the model? Do I need to, sometimes take, I say, 2 steps back in order to move 3 steps forward. There's been times that I have personally, I will put my hand up and say, I've had to do that just for my own well-being, and fully aware of, I've got to look after myself so I can show up the best to the people I'm serving. So in order to do that, I've had to kind of go, I'm going to just take a few steps back, a few weeks off, rest up and recover, and then kind of move forward, because it can be a very, I wouldn't say exhausting, it can be very mentally challenging sometimes to keep going when things are sort of showing up and you're going, do I need to take a check on this, in terms of how this is showing up for me. And I think most of the women would agree, in global women in business, that they have seen this and experienced this. And Kristina talks a little bit about it, and then a few others talk about it as well. But I would be keen to hear about what you have seen, Kim, in your time, over the last few years, particularly, I guess, dealing with women in business, whether that was locally through what you do or on an international space. Was there anything that really stood out for you particularly?
Oh gosh, look, I started Office Society almost 2 years ago, and it originally wasn't called Office Society. I went down a whole different path to begin with, because that's what I thought I wanted to do, and I pivoted twice in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I went down the rebranding path, and I guess that is when I really started to seriously look at what it was I wanted to do, and where I felt I could help people, and started to think about what my values were. We go through life with our values set, and often they come from our upbringing. But when you are asked to identify your values, you have to go within yourself. And it was, my rebrand took 6 months, and it was one of the biggest growing periods in my 2 years since being in business.
Yeah.
Just to answering the question, what are my values? What is it that I want people to say about me when I'm not in the room? how do I want people to feel when I'm there with them? You know, and what are my true strengths?
Yeah.
So, and I still think that for women, particularly when we start out, we haven't got all these boxes ticked, because in my situation, I came from the background of being an employee for most of my life.
Okay.
And I struggled with being an employee because I like to take initiative. I have great ideas. And, you know, and all the other things that an entrepreneur brings to the table. But in the workplace, they were often dismissed, or people would smile and nod their heads, and, you know, it never went anywhere. And I got very frustrated towards the end of my working, towards the time I decided I was out of being an employee. But one of the things is that when you come from an employee background, very often we start business still with the employee mindset.
Yes, I love that. I love that you mentioned that. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And so when I was doing my rebranding, and I was thinking along, you know, all the processes of what I want, and you know, all the things I just mentioned, I don't know what I was doing now, but there was one day, I know what it was. I was getting ready to meet with a potential client, and I just had this funny feeling of, oh, I don't want to go.
Oh.
And while I was traveling there, I thought to myself, why am I thinking this? You know, this is my business. This is my client that I've been talking to, and, you know, we're now finally having a meeting. And I suddenly caught myself out and thought, I am thinking of an employee. And in my last 15 months of being an employee, I would be sitting on the bus every morning chanting, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go.
Wow.
And I was still taking that with me. I hadn't made that mental shift. And I think that is something that we need to do, is to move from being an employee, being someone else's something, whatever that is, and whatever that looks like, to be ourselves, and to show up in our businesses as how we want to be, and to treat others how we want to treat them, and not worrying about the bottom line. So that was a real eye-opening. That was part of my journey, and part of my turning point was to shift my mind around from thinking, oh, I don't want to go, to, hooray, I've got a client.
Exactly.
Someone is interested enough to hear about what it is that I can bring to the table. And we now start consulting. And it's not an employee manager arrangement. You are consulting with your potential client, and becomes a two-way conversation. And you start to recognize other areas you can help each other in. No, I don't know if I've answered your question, Samantha. But
No, absolutely, Kim, you have, and you nailed it. And that's why I was shaking my head, because that is such an interesting point that you really highlighted. Because, you know, prior to stepping into the business zone, you know, nearly 7 years ago, I was an employee myself for nearly a decade in superannuation here in Melbourne. And there were times where I'm like, oh, just go in and get the thing done. You know what? That paycheck comes in at the end of the fortnight. It pays for this awesome lifestyle that I want to have, and the travel and all of that. And I think for me, when you mentioned that, something that I picked up, I wouldn't say very early on, it was probably about 3 years into business, that I had to tweak the model, because I wasn't paying myself. I was more like, I want to grow the business. I want to grow the business. I want to grow the business. But it was like, hang on, have you bought yourself another job through this process? And you're using the fact that you own the business as a bit of a distraction, as opposed to recognizing that you need to actually honor yourself, and really look at this on a whole other level. Because otherwise, I've gone from a 9-to-5 corporate job in Melbourne CBD to around the clock job from my home, and then when I go into the office, because I have got an office space where I see clients face to face, it's like, so have I bought myself another setup really? And it was changing that. And as you said, that that moment where it just hits you going, oh wow, I've been feeding myself that information, and subconsciously your mind is just sitting in autopilot really until you go, no, I'm going to change this, and then it's changed dramatically. So thank you for sharing that. I love it. I love that you were able to pick that up and then went, yep, okay, this is what
I think, Samantha, it's all about, as women, one of the things we need to learn is to value ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the things that I was coming to terms with, because for so long I had allowed others to devalue me, and I was devaluing myself as well. So I think we all struggle with that mind shift.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kim. I really appreciate it. Kristina, I'm curious to hear what your one aha is, or I know you've shared a very personal journey in the book. I guess for the community in your Facebook group, for both of your communities in the Facebook group, I mean, they probably know a little bit about you and what you get up to, but I think it would be really great to hear from you and share, what is that one thing that has crossed your mind, or your biggest aha has been as a woman, serving clients globally. Essentially, you're serving us all from different parts of the world. So what's been your one aha?
When I was working, my background is the publishing industry. I was working 10 years. In 2009, I was cut off my job because company closed.
Okay.
And after that, I decided to be myself and start working on as entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that was a high. And then at that time, I met my husband, and we just connect. I asked him, what do you do? He told me that. I like publishing, and it was like my cut off corporate job, and start working as my own self and just take action, take decision about me, about my business, to get flexible working hours, to do what I want to do. And as Kim mentioned, that I want I want to know who am I. I want to respect women, people, and people respect me. And after that, I was starting to sign up in one of association of business women in Serbia. And then there are many amazing women entrepreneurs. And then I get my mentor then, and it was a part how I started my promotions team. And it was so good. And that was my okay. I don't want to have boss. I want to be my own boss. I'm just decided my job, about my life, what I want to do, with whom I want to do. And then, because I like Australia very much, and US, and this all area which English language is native language, my objective was to start just working there. For example, it was my dream, and my dream came true. And that's how I was starting. That's I'm my own boss. I'm freelancer, and I work with many amazing women. And on that way, I met you.
Yeah.
You on 2 years or 3 years ago now. And then one time, I'm also in Business and Health part because I'm coordinator for Serbia. I have a Facebook group because I'm coordinator, because I didn't buy franchise or just started online Facebook group. And one time it was Lisa. She had got a interview with Kim, and then how I met Kim, by the way, just want to explain. And then I just, hello Kim, I'm coordinator for business in Serbia, that, and we connected. And after that, we started drinking digital coffee, and it was the way how Global Coffee Circle started.
Oh,
we
okay.
met maybe a couple times, you were 6-7 times. We were talking talking about networking, about referral marketing, about branding, just speaking aloud, just like have coffee chats in virtual worlds. And then its idea was born, and for me now it's movement. And it was how we can work together from two parts of the world. The world is very small globally. And I'm so happy because of that to start working with Kim also and with you as well. And then one time, I want to speak. I'm speaking about step by step. One time when I read about your opportunity for global women in business, I told myself, okay, I will sign up, and I want to share my story. And that's how it was starting with the book. And that's now I'm in the book Global Women in Business, and I'm in the group which name is Global Coffee Circle. That everything is global. And I have my digital, it's the digital marketing success group, which is global as well. So there are 3 ways of working globally.
Absolutely, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Kristina. I love getting to know the backstory now of Global Coffee Circle. I'm like, now I know the truth. There was lots of coffee drinking and online conversations, and hence the group was born.
Yeah,
it's out
exactly.
now.
That's true.
No, I love it.
Share about a little bit about because you're native speakers. So, but Kim is amazing.
No,
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's something that among the 3 of us and a lot of women in your Facebook group would really relate to, with a Zoom or a Skype session, with whatever it is that you want, a glass of wine, a cup of coffee, a hot chocolate, a tea, a latte, whatever you want. You're really able to build that relationship online, and you're not limited to just having to just get to networking events just locally. You do have that freedom to connect and build relationships globally, and really look at how you are making an impact globally. And that's where I guess our publishing business has always thought about, people sharing stories. It's not just, you've come to a book launch, just celebrated the book. It's like, well, I don't know where a book can go. Both of you and most of your listeners will agree, when you get a book, sometimes it's awesome. And then you're like, I'm just going to share it with a girlfriend, or I'm going to share it with my partner, I'm going to share it with my cousin. And then the book leaves your hand, the book goes into somebody else's hand. And essentially that's the same thing with this conversation. You get to really share. Here we are, the 3 of us are having this conversation, but the amount of people that are going to hear it, and really take an aha from it is incredible. And I guess that's where all 3 of us really want to make an impact, really connect with people, make an impact, and support their business journey in whatever capacity that is. So it's great to be connected. And Kim, I honestly have to catch up with you when I come to Sydney next month. I just realized it's the 1st of April today, which is awesome. So I can say next month, and that means May. That's good. So, well, any last words from each of you before we wrap up this call?
Oh, okay. Kristina.
I would like to, Kim, just start sharing a little bit because I was inviting Samantha to speak about Global Coffee Circle, and I would love that you, Kim, can share a little bit, and just maybe Samantha can share something about her new projects, about the book, and how we can maybe just. My idea, for example, at the moment, aha moment, maybe to invite other women to join, who are co-authors in the book, and speak about and just have some conversation and on some topic, or just share their ideas and their impact and everything. So this should be maybe some other ideas how we can connect, or just plan some new Zoom call or something like that and speak about. And invite them to speak with us.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, sounds good. I'm going to post obviously this recording in the group. I'm going to do a Facebook Live very quickly to summarize this conversation in your Coffee Circle group as well, just because I think it would be cool to connect with people live. And yeah, I guess in terms of I'm very grateful, Kristina, that I met you online. You know, you've done some amazing stuff for our clients over the years, and I'm looking forward to sending you lots more technical things over the next coming months that, you know, you can solve, which I can't solve, because that's what I honestly think that's where, you know, businesses have the capacity to grow when you know what you know really well, and you know the things that you need to outsource and go, yep, I'm going to own it, I'm going to pass it on, and they're going to take good care of it. So I think that's massive to be able to do that, and I'm very grateful for that connection. And Kim, it is really great to meet you online. I look forward to meeting you in person in the coming weeks, but definitely an online connection is always a great starting point, so I'm very grateful for the connection. And yeah, I mean, in terms of what we're doing, so as I mentioned, I'm a publisher. We're working on some new projects for later in the year with some very cool titles. And yeah, if anyone's interested, then I'd be more than happy to have a conversation. But for now, it's very much celebrating, Kristina, you know, your book, Global Women in Business, which should be arriving at your front door, I'm sure, one of these days. Because
I'm waiting every day.
It's been traveling, you know, it's gone from Melbourne to Australia Post to, I think now it's arrived somewhere
20,000 kilometers, I mean.
Oh, there you go. So it's a long way.
Yeah. And I want to ask him to share a little bit, if we have a little time, maybe 1 to 3 minutes, about the Global Coffee Circle, our idea. Kim can share a little bit. I think.
There you
go. About posting, about our ideas, about maybe webinars. Kim, can you share, please, a little bit? My partner, Kim.
Kristina, are you delegating?
She's delegating. There you go.
Kim is a little bit experienced.
Oh, I'm not sure how to take that.
I appreciate your speech.
Thanks, Kristina. Kristina, I know you think a lot of our friendship, and I am often taken aback by how much you value it. And just I want to say right now, thank you. I can't always answer your questions immediately when you send me a message, but I want you to know that I do get back to you, and you are in my thoughts quite regularly. Now, Global Coffee Circle, I guess the way I see it working is connecting women from, you know, as we said, globally, to bring them together to support and collaborate and to build those valuable business referrals. And one of the ways I see of doing that is to maybe, as Kristina has said, to start doing some video interviews, whether they're live, whether they're pre-recorded, it doesn't really matter, into the group so we can all see what each other is doing, learn about each other, because I really do believe that when we are looking for business relationships, whether we're looking for using someone's services or buying someone's product, it's all about know, like, trust. And one of the ways I think that we can get to know each other better, then means we usually start to like each other, and then comes the trust, is by personalising the group, by having people come into it rather than putting up a post and crossing fingers it resonates with somebody and someone gets the urge all the time to comment. So I see our group as maybe filling the gap where a lot of groups have, it's impersonal. You have the administrator that runs everything, and you get people commenting or self-promoting. The other thing that I find in a lot of groups is they have set theme days. Now, Kristina and I discussed this, and I'm opposed to theme days for one reason, and that is a theme blocks or locks people out. It also locks people in. So say for instance, we do have a theme on Monday, Motivation Monday. But if every Monday is Motivation Monday in a group, then unless you've got something motivating, you feel you cannot contribute. but you might have, a valid issue that you want to raise. You might want to have help that you want to raise, and you've got to wait for Helpful Wednesday. So that to me doesn't make sense, particularly when we're in a group that we're talking about supporting, encouraging and helping each other. So our theme days at the moment are really to give some guidance around what we're doing, but we've left other days of the week open. So we have a theme Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And the rest of the week we have it open so that, you can come into the group and say, I need help in this, or you know what, I woke up this morning, and this was me, I woke up this morning and thought, I would like someone to speak to. I've spent the whole weekend on my own. I'd just like to speak to someone before I start work. That's what I'm saying. So it's so I guess to sum it up, for me, our group is an opportunity for women to connect on a more personal level.
I love it. I love it, Kim. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for those of you that are listening to this, we encourage you to reach out, make those connections. Tell us if we can support you, whether that's a, hey, how are you, how are you tracking, and give you a bit of inspiration, or just support you on a business level, or maybe even on a personal level. Who knows? We are all on this journey to make an impact and to, build relationships along the way. So, yeah. That's it from me. I think we'll wrap it up there. I will post a copy of this in the Facebook group. And I'm just going to quickly, Kim and Kristina, just quickly jump on Facebook Live in your group. So you will see me literally in 30 seconds on there, just summarizing this conversation so people know to expect this video being uploaded in the next half an hour. So I'm going to upload it and share it. So thank you so much, ladies, from Melbourne, from freezing cold Melbourne here in Australia. It's good to have Kim from Sydney, Australia, and Kristina all the way in Serbia. So thank you so much for your time this morning. Very, very grateful. I look forward to talking to you both very soon.
Thanks, Samantha.
Thank you. Regards from Belgrade.
Yep.
Bye. Spring Belgrade. Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye, Kristina. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Kim. Bye, Samantha. Thank you.
That's okay.
Bye-bye.